Jonathan Turley joins us now. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for your time. We're going to wear you out in the end after all these court cases here. This is Abby Lowell. We heard a little bit in David's report there, but it seems to be a bit of a defense that he's forming in this answer on CNN yesterday. Watch.
The law says whether or not the person is possessing the gun while they are addicted. There is ambiguity in that statute, which we will have to pursue if this case continues. At the time that he purchased this gun, I don't think there's evidence that that's when he was suffering. When you refer to his book, he had just come out of rehabilitation.
He says two things there, the timetable and the definition of the statute. What do you think of that?
I don't think there's as much ambiguity as being suggested. There's an opportunistic use here of Hunter Biden's addiction. You know, it's being used to excuse his actions, saying, well, he was just an addict. This is part of what addicts do. And then when he's charged, he says, well, he wasn't an addict during that period, so you can't use that as a condition. I think it's going to be a hard case to make. And the question is how they will go about proving it. But they can certainly challenge that. The more interesting challenge is whether Hunter Biden will challenge the underlying statute. In various courts, you have people who lost gun possession rights because they had drug use or drug possession counts. One of those led to the declaration that the underlying statute was unconstitutional under the Second Amendment. For Hunter Biden to replicate that defense, he would have to challenge a law that his father has enthusiastically supported and use cases that his father has vigorously condemned under the Second Amendment. So this could get very odd very quickly.
Jonathan, good morning to you. And real quickly, this is President Biden. He chose to ignore the opportunity to comment on his son. Listen.
Mr. President. Mr. President. Mr. President, you have a platform full of reporters.
Perhaps not shocking, but given the opportunity yesterday following that speech in Maryland, he did not comment. I want to ask you about the possibility of real jail time. We're running that banner there. Hunter may face 25-year sentence, $750,000 fine. Saul Weisenberg, our colleague here at the Fox News channel, former deputy independent counsel, he seems to be throwing cold water on that idea. Do you believe it's a possibility he could serve real jail time?
No, I said when the indictment came out that, first of all, the 25-year period is unrealistic. He's a first offender, but more importantly, these are not going to be daisy-chained. They're not going to run consecutively. They would run concurrently, even if he's convicted on all three. As a first offender, he would then get a substantial reduction from the maximum. But there is a real chance that he would get no jail time at all. The question is whether this is just the start of a series of indictments and whether he's looking at some other charges coming down the pike.
Okay, would that come in the 30 seconds we have left here? Would that come from James Comer's impeachment inquiry if you get into more bank records, et cetera?
Well, there's other torpedoes in the water with regard to charges, like the AFERA charge, the tax charges. The Department of Justice curiously allowed many of the statute of limitations to run, so he's at less risk than, frankly, he should be. But all of this just reinforces Speaker McCarthy's view that we need to do an impeachment inquiry. There is still an artificially reduced scope of crimes here that Hunter is facing. Congress is now in a position to get answers to these questions. Their power is truly at its apex once they start an impeachment inquiry.
Okay. Professor, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
More to come. Nice to see you, Jonathan Turley. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep the phone handy.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.